Does your hula hoop keep falling down? Don't worry, I got you.
Hey, friends, welcome. And if we are not friends yet, hi, hello, how are you? I am Dream Fairy, a flow artist, hula hooper, and hula hoop maker. And so today we are going to go over how to keep that hoop up and spinning for your flow and stop the dropping. So we're going to go over different kinds of external factors that can affect keeping the waist hoop up. We're going to go through how to actually do the waist hooping with the right posture, the right stance, the right motion. And then we're also going to go over things to avoid while doing this and giving you a good visual of common mistakes and the right way to do this. So let's dive right in.
So the first thing we're going to talk about is finding the right hula hoop for you to be able to waist hula hoop. So that means finding a hoop that's going to be naturally easier to keep up. So I'm going to spin these hoops around my waist and not do any motions, just so you can see what naturally happens. And as you can see, the smaller hoop falls down way faster than the bigger hoop. So naturally, a bigger hoop is going to be easier to keep up around your waist. You're going to be doing less motions, so you'll be able to move slower while being able to keep it up. For your hula hoop's type and size, you're really looking at a hoop that is going to stand up closer between your waist and your chest. You're not going to want something that is standing up lower than your waist. So now let's see if you've got it. Looking at this bigger hoop compared to the smaller hoop, which do you think will be easiest to use? That's right, let's get rid of that smaller hoop and on to using this bigger hoop. And something else I want to talk about with using your hula hoop is that something that's going to be easier to keep the hula hoop up is using some kind of grip on your hula hoop. Whether you want to use grip tape, which is my personal method, or you can use wax melts and you could wax the inner diameter of your hula hoop. You can also use sandpaper and kind of like scratch and buff the insides of the hoop to keep it up, but then that kind of damages your hoop and we don't want that. So I prefer using a grip tape, or if you don't want to change the colors, like if you have a fancy, fun hula hoop, then use some kind of wax and just rub some wax on it. Let's get into your stance and posture. Now, this is going to be a big ticket tip. You're going to want to either stand with your feet at waist length apart, or you're going to want to have like a staggered stance with one foot in front of the other. And you're not going to want to keep your feet together. That's going to kind of off-flow yourself. Honestly, the wider apart your feet are, the easier it is going to be. And whether you prefer one in front of the other or side by side, you're going to want some space in between your feet. You are going to want to have some kind of bend in your knees as well. You're not going to want a stiff, straight leg. You're going to want to be bendy. That way you can really move back and forth. You're also going to want to really engage your core here. Your core is going to be what is used to really bump the hoop back and forth. You're not going to want to move really your legs, your torso, all of that. It's really your core, that you are really getting into here. So focus on using your core muscles when you start doing the motions. If you are going to be doing a staggered stance, the point of that is kind of like a little help to be able to, you're just going to be shifting your weight back and forth, bouncing pretty much with your weight moving back and forth on each of your feet. Avoid looking down and watching yourself from that perspective. You're going to want to stand straight up with your head up. If you need to be able to see how you're doing this, I highly recommend filming yourself, filming your posture and your stance. That way you can really see how you look from an outside perspective, because it really is hard to get that perspective Especially when you're learning, you want to look down so you can see if you're doing it right, but that is only hurting you. If you are looking down, you're going to be hunched over or bent over, and you're not going to be straight, and you're really going to want to be straight up in order for the gravity to be able to keep the motion of keeping it up. Moving into the actual motions that you will be doing, avoid moving in a circular motion. You're going to want to either rock back and forth, forward and back, or side to side. However you personally feel is best for you. You're just not going to move. I know a lot of people feel like you got to move your body in a circular motion, and that is only hurting you. You're only going to want to be popping it. Think of it popping it, back and forth. Pop, 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 pop. As you move, you're just moving from one side of your weight. You're shifting weight pretty much. That's how you hula hoop. That's a big tip. Think of it as shifting weight, not moving in a circle, but rocking back and forth or side to side. I also want to throw in there the fact that depending on where exactly the hoop is lining up along your waist is where you're going to be doing that popping. Because I know it can get confusing, like if you're watching other people hula hoop around the waist and it might look like they're doing those circular motions, but where the hoop is actually making that connection with their body is where that popping motion is going to take place. So if the hoop is lined up more along closer to your hips are where you're doing that front and back or side to side popping motion. And if the hoop is kind of lining up more closer to your chest, well, that's where your chest is going to come into place and do more of that popping motion back and forth or side to side. So you have to always be aware of where exactly the hoop is making contact with your body. That way you know where to do that popping motion. Another tip on helping keeping it up is moving your body in a circular motion, not your hips or your waist. You are rotating your whole body in the same direction that your hoop is moving. That is going to help counter the gravity and keep it up longer and help you gain those fundamental motions. So when you're first starting out, I highly recommend rotating your body as you hula hoop. What not to do? You're not going to want to spin the hoops around really fast with your arms. You might think it's going to be easier to spin it around as fast as you can to keep it up longer, but that's only hurting you and inhibiting you from keeping it up at all. Because as the faster it goes, it's going to be hard to match your movement speed to the speed that you're throwing them around. So they're going to end up falling back down. So you're going to want to lightly spin the hoop around with your arms, not trying to do it as fast as you can, but just whatever motion you feel you're going to be doing, that's kind of the speed that you're going to want to start off with. And you're not going to really want to be moving slowly. You want to get that whip in your motion. The bigger hoop you have, yes, the slower you can go. So if you are a little bit more of a slower mover, then I highly recommend the biggest hoop that you can find, typically in the 40 inches in diameter. That's going to be a lot easier to keep up so you have a slower motion. The smaller the hoop, the faster you're going to have to move. So now let's do some quick fixes that you can do while you're hula hooping. If you feel the hoop starting to go down and, say you're hooping in front of people and you don't want to be embarrassed, there are some things you can do to kind of catch yourself. So first thing you can do is what I like to do is I like to catch it with both of my arms behind my back. So as the hoop approaches the back of my back, I'm going to want to put my arms up and over and kind of just hinge it in there to kind of stop it from moving, and then I pop it up over my body and bring it to the side. So from here you could do folds, spin it out, whatever you personally want to do from there. But that's a good way to kind of keep the flow going. Something else you can do is back to the spinning in circles and rotating your body. If you feel it starting to go down, start doing a few, rotations and spins. Keep it going by spinning your own body as well. And that can kind of catch it, to get it back up to where you were. And one more thing you can do is just catch it, and mid going around, you feel it starting to go around, just catch it, put it over your head, and lead into some other motion or trick that you are getting into.
So just some words of encouragement that do know that if you are a beginner or if you've been doing this for a while and still learning how to keep it up, know that we all got to start somewhere. We all got to practice and get to it at that level. It's just keeping your motivation and dedication on being able to accomplish keeping that hoop up on your waist. Know that even I had struggles with it when I first started out. You can go check out one of my videos on here where I go through my hula hooping journey and how it actually boosted my mental health. And I show lots of clips from my first, starting out era and how I actually did look like a robot. It wasn't beautiful at first, but it was beautiful to me as a learning process to getting to where I am now, if that makes sense. So I just want to let you know that if you are still struggling with this, just keep practicing one day at a time, step by step. You will get it. You just have to keep practicing and know that you will get there. Not everybody can start out doing it perfect their first time. Remember, the top 3 main things to focus on when you are practicing waist hula hooping is the right hula hoop that you choose, the right stance that you are standing up in, and the right motion that you are doing. And so with those 3 things you can focus on, practice, 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 and you will get it. And if you are looking and interested in where you can get a nice fancy hula hoop, I do make dream hoops. They are hula hoops made with reflective, holographic, and UV reactive tapes. So all that information is down in the description if you were interested in checking those out. Also, let me know in the comments below if this has helped you in any way. Let me know if there's been any struggling factors that maybe you're still struggling with. What was the most challenging part of accomplishing waist hooping for you? Let me know. Like the video as well if you liked it, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. That way you can get access to more hula hooping tutorials, more beginner-friendly guides, and lots of fun, flow, artsy, dancing fun things. So happy hooping. I hope this has helped. I'll see you in the next one.